I want to know, I mean, you've been talking to all sorts of CEOs,
Yeah.
all sorts of folks just the last couple of days, and we keep talking about a vibe shift.
Yeah.
What is the vibe? What is the biggest takeaway you've gotten so far out of this?
It's a tremendous amount of optimism.
And optimism from U.S. folks or across the board?
I'd say across the board,
Really?
which has sort of surprised me. I think it's a function of the importance of the U.S. economy in driving the global economy forward.
The reason I'm surprised is I've found that the Americans seem to be quite optimistic. A little skittish, but that everybody else is a little bit more skittish and anxious given the prospect of tariffs and the like.
I think on the tariffs issue, though, I think it's going to be something that this administration, who is a very pro-business administration.
First president since Reagan to show up at the New York Stock Exchange. No less.
Absolutely. But that was a sign that he is very pro-business and pro-strength of the U.S. economy. I think the people that he has around him, a lot of very smart people going into the cabinet, are going to look at the issue of tariffs alongside the issue of inflation. So we'll see how this unfolds over the course of the year.
What does the IPO pipeline look like for you? And the reason I ask is, we had Bill Ford here yesterday for General Atlantic, and we just were talking about how there are so many companies that have been waiting to go public for such a long time, almost no exits in the sort of private equity space, which has actually created its own bottleneck as it relates to fundraising and the like, because nobody's able to give back money to the U.S. pension funds and things like that. What do you really see happening here?
I think I see a mix of IPOs and M&A activity. I'm sure you're talking with a variety of the banking CEOs who are very optimistic about the M&A forecast for the year, but we're very optimistic about the IPO forecast for the year. We have a company that just went last week, did really well. Company Flowco in the energy sector did really well. We have a large deal on the road at the moment, Venture Global. We have a tremendous pipeline, and people are actually doing the work to go public now, not just talking about doing the work.
How concerned are you just about the PE ratio of this market? Because we are almost, I don't want to say price for perfection, but there's an argument to be made. You look at the beginning of presidential terms, and the Wall Street Journal did this piece just yesterday. We are at historic highs, meaning a new president comes in, and the PE ratio is the highest it's ever been. And I just wonder what that means for the next 4 years.
I think that it underscores the demand that I hear from long-only funds that they want more issues to the market. And then again, that comes back to what you just asked me about, the prospects for the IPO market. I think there'll also be a bit of a rebalancing. There's a lot of great stocks that don't have the same PE ratios as some of the higher PE ratios. A lot of good value in those companies. So I think you'll see a rebalancing.
How do you think about your role in the world of crypto? I mean, for 4 years, you could argue, I want to say crypto was stalled because clearly Bitcoin moved even before Trump was in office. But clearly you now have a president who is fully behind crypto. And I wonder for the New York Stock Exchange, we were talking to Brian Armstrong, Coinbase yesterday, just what that ultimately means in terms of, do you say to yourself, we need to be big time in this business? Do you start to think, okay, the whole idea of ICOs, initial coin offerings, which were sort of taken off the table because people thought they were scams. Does that come back? Does that change the whole marketplace? I mean, what does this look like?
Ultimately, and I've been saying this for a few years now, we need regulatory guidelines. We need clear guidelines, clear guardrails to operate under, which I think is what is driving so much of the optimism in the crypto markets. It's that finally we will have clarity as to what the frameworks look like.
And then assuming that you get some kind of clarity, where does the New York Stock Exchange play in that?
We've always been an advocate of fair, transparent markets. Regulation has always been a tailwind for us. It's why we spend so much time on pioneering the crypto ETF. We started working on the first crypto ETF with Grayscale in 2016. We only got to market last year, which is crazy to me. So we're just going to continue to look for opportunities to add transparency to markets.
Finally, what do you make of these meme coins? No, really. And what does it say about, what does it say about trading? What does it say about speculation? I ask because clearly, President Trump had a coin. Melania had a coin. It went up. I mean, there's lots of questions to be asked. Obviously, the family's making lots of money doing it. There's legal questions. There's ethical questions, all sorts of things. But I'm just curious what you think of the phenomenon of these kinds of coins.
I think the jury's out on them. I'm not going to comment one way or the other than to say I think they're sentiment. They're sentiment indicators as to how people are feeling about whatever coin is issued.